If you have around $1,500 to spend and you want a new gaming PC build, this video is going to be for you. I will show you the best gaming PC build that you can get for the price, and I will also show you the estimated performance. That way you know how much FPS you're getting on different titles and your resolution. I highly recommend you staying until the end of the video because I will go over every component, and don't worry if you're a beginner because I will explain everything as simply as possible. That way if you're on the market for a new gaming PC build and you know nothing about computers, this video will still help you. All the links to the PC components mentioned will be down below in the video description, and I hope you guys like my new Christmas hat. Happy holidays, and let's start. First, let's talk about the CPU. We have the AMD Ryzen 7 7700. This is a great 8-core processor that is super power efficient, and you do not actually need an aftermarket CPU cooler because the stock cooler is going to be more than enough, and that's why we are going with the stock one. But I will give you a recommendation later on this video that might be interesting for you. Anyway, this Ryzen 7 can be paired with actually every GPU in the market, even the RTX 4090, which is the most expensive one. So if down the line you decide to upgrade the graphics card to a more powerful one, then the Ryzen 7 7700 is most likely not going to bottleneck it, especially at a higher resolution like 4K. For the motherboard, we have the ASRock B650M Pro RS with Wi-Fi included. I love this motherboard. It has plenty of features for gaming, and it's from the AM5 platform, meaning that it's upgradable over time with newer CPUs from AMD that are going to come in the near future. Then for the memory kit, we have 32 gigs of DDR5 memory running at 6000 MHz CL30 timings. If you know nothing about computers, don't worry. This basically means that it's very fast. And since you get 32 gigs of RAM, it's not only a great gaming experience, but it's also going to be a great system if you want to do production work on the side, or content creation, or tasks like streaming. For the storage, you get a 1TB Gen 4 SSD in the Crucial P3 Plus. This is a really good unit for $58. And if you need more storage down the line because you are downloading a bunch of games, then you can always add one more if you need it, because the motherboard has more than one slot. That's something for you to keep in mind. If you need more storage, you can upgrade easily. Then for the most important component when it comes to gaming performance, we have the graphics card. Here I went with the RX 7900 XT for $760. This is a great GPU for 1440p and 4K resolution, and at this price you can also consider the RTX 4070 Ti. I will tell you the difference in a second, but before doing that I want to show you the estimated performance for the RX 7900 XT. At 1440p on a 15-game average on high to ultra settings, where high demanding titles are being tested and games that are really high demanding, the RX 7900 XT gets 139 FPS on average, which is an insane number considering we are talking about high demanding titles on ultra settings. If you want to play easier to run games, you will be achieving way higher frames, even more than 240 FPS on average. So if you want a high refresh rate 1440p monitor, feel free to buy one. And as you can see on that same test, the RTX 4070 Ti is slightly slower with an average of 128 FPS, which is about 10% slower performance than the RX 7900 XT. If we go to a higher resolution at 4K on that 15-game average, the 7900 XT is able to hit 82 FPS on average, and the 4070 Ti 72 FPS. So the RX 7900 XT is the better one in terms of rasterized gaming performance, but then if you want to play with ray tracing on, the RTX 4070 Ti is slightly faster with an average of 90 FPS at 1440p resolution on a 6-game average, ultra settings as well, and the 7900 XT is able to average 87 FPS. Really close numbers though, to the point where it actually doesn't matter as much as we think it does. And then at 4K resolution with ray tracing on, both had the same average FPS across those 6 titles. And even though the average is 50 FPS, if you turn on DLSS or FSR, which is the upscaler technology, and it's an in-game setting, so you only have to turn it on the settings when you're playing, then you will be achieving more than 60 plus FPS on average with ray tracing on. Anyway, if you are confused on which one to get, let me break it down for you. The 7900 XT has more VRAM, is more future-proof, and is going to be a much better choice for 4K resolution. The 4070 Ti has less VRAM, is going to be almost the same in terms of performance at 1440p, but it has DLSS 3, and usually DLSS, which is the upscaler technology for Nvidia, looks better than FSR from AMD. On top of that, there are many productivity work and content creation applications that work better with Nvidia. So it really comes down to the programs and games that you're going to play, but if both are at the same price point and you just care about gaming performance and a more future-proof system, then get the 7900 XT. Then for the case, we have the Fantex Eclipse G300A. This one comes with only one pre-installed fan in the back, but it's $40. So what I did here is I added 3 extra fans in the Thermalright TL3 back fans for just $14. So you will have 4 fans total on this system, plenty of airflow for a really good price. And last but not least, we have the power supply in the MSI Mag A750GL. This one is a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply that's going to be enough for this system. If you want a more upgradeable PC where you will be able to put even the RTX 4090 down the line, then I do recommend you considering a 1000 watt power supply, but those are usually $50 to $70 more expensive. The total price for this system is $1,515 by the time that I'm recording this video. Maybe when you're watching this, it's a bit cheaper or a bit more expensive, so I do recommend you checking the links in the description for the latest pricing. And one thing I do recommend you upgrading if you have a bit of extra money is the CPU cooler to the Deepcool HE400. This one is a great $30 cooler that is going to keep the temps down and also keep your noise levels down. If you make this upgrade, the total price is $1,545 and it's not a must, but it's a nice to have. And then if you have a bit of extra money to spend, for around $1,600, $1,590 to be exact, you can change the CPU to the Ryzen 7 7800X3D and get the Thermalright Peerless Assassin 120 ARGB for the CPU cooler. This CPU, the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, is arguably the fastest CPU on the market, and it's going to make a difference for gaming if you play high CPU demanding titles, for example Fortnite on low settings, or higher end titles that require more CPU. I have to say though that most titles are more GPU demanding, and the difference is not going to be huge between this one and the Ryzen 7 7700, but the price difference is also not big, and considering the 7800X3D is the fastest CPU on the market, I do recommend you at least considering it, especially if you have the budget to buy it. And if you have even more money, or maybe you have less money than $1,500 and you want a PC build, then I do recommend you watching my video on the best PC builds of the month, where I go over every budget and every resolution. So 1080p, 1440p and 4K with budgets from $600 all the way up to $3,000 plus. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.